Hey everybody, I hope today's recovery for you is going well. Hopefully everybody's keeping sober or staying clean. Today I want to talk about step 8 of AA, which is making a list of people we've harmed and being willing to make amends to those people. This step kind of gets me a little bit because a lot of times we don't know who we've harmed mentally, physically, emotionally. Just we don't know who we've actually wronged when we're on the substances, be it alcohol, meth, heroin, really anything. So this list is going to be really hard for everybody to write. And I don't think it's necessary to make a list. I think the people that you actually hurt in your life due to all this stuff, you already know. You don't have to make a list. Because a lot of times in AA, they get wrapped up into the list, and you go down a list, half the people, they have no idea what you're talking about. You could be fine with those people. And to me, it doesn't make any sense to go out and say, you know what? Hey, Jim, I apologize today. And then check that one off on your box. And Jim just looks at you funny and, says, I have no idea what you're talking about. So really in smart recovery, it boils down to soul searching and what is ultimately going to come from here, the heart. I always do this because it's from the heart and soul that I think your recovery begins. I truly believe that. Example, I was in month 10 of my recovery, and I woke up one morning and I looked at my girlfriend at the time, and I literally broke down in tears. And I said, I'm so sorry for all the nonsense bullcrap that I've put you through for the last 3-4 years. That came from here. Didn't come from a list. It actually came from me. That to me is part of your recovery. And post-acute withdrawal syndrome, PAWS, which I've been talking about quite a bit lately, you get all these emotional things. You become irritable, angry, anxious, emotional, to the point where you'll understand what's going on. You don't need to write down a list to figure it out, because you ultimately know the people that you immediately affected when you're going through that process. I got people that used meth, for example. They knew they were stealing. They were taking advantage of their parents or friends for money, or they would go and steal it from them to go get high. They know what they were doing. Alcohol, a little different story. We hide things. For me, I died. My ex-girlfriend, she went through that with me. I was in a coma for 3 weeks. I affected a lot of people during that time. My family, friends, my ex-girlfriend. They went through that whole process. And it didn't occur to me until I actually felt it inside that I had to apologize to these people. Like I said, I didn't need a list. The second part of this video I want to talk about was acknowledging that our character is not based around the actual substances and that. And it goes kind of back to step 8, because you're almost letting it define who you are, and you're giving it the excuse to why you have to apologize. My dad passed away. He had cirrhosis of the liver, and he never got it. He went through rehab a couple times, not because of him. He didn't want to go to rehab. The job sent him once. My mom sent him once. But he still went. But he still never got it. It doesn't mean it defined his character. The sad thing is that When people heard that he died, they talked about his alcoholism. They were like, what do you expect? He's an alcoholic. We expected that. You know, when you go and talk to people afterwards, and I try to do this a lot when I'm going through and like my peer counseling and some of the conferences and counseling sessions that I do. If they're going through detox, you're not talking to the person. You know, when somebody talks to me, I want them to talk to Al, not alcohol, you know? And that's a hard thing to break. When my dad passed away, they remembered him as alcohol. I remembered him as Al. Even though I only saw Al a couple times, I just remember that he was a loving person, tried to take care of the family and do all that stuff. Alcohol got the better of him. When we make amends and we do it from here, your friends and family are going to see that. They're going to see that you're being sincere. And the longer you go through sobriety, they're going to know they're talking to the person they know. They're not talking to meth. They're not talking to alcohol. They're not talking to heroin. They're not talking to cocaine. They're not talking to the substances. They're actually talking to the person they actually know. That's what I wanted to talk about today. Remember that. When I die for the second time, I hope that in my memorial that they remember Al, the guy who was a fun-loving guy. You know, I'll have those people that say he was just an ass. But my point is, we want them to remember us and not the substance. That eliminates character. Be calm, stay sober, and love y'all.